Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Big Questions, Small Steps. My name is Amanda and I'm so glad that you could join me today. Today is another follow-up video from the last two videos. So 2 videos ago, I explained the different movements in Judaism and some of their beliefs and things like that. In the last video, I talked about the movement that I chose and why I chose that. Today's episode is on that similar thread, but slightly different. Today we're going to talk about if you are feeling like you need to find a new spiritual home, what tips do I have for that? Because I definitely have experience in that. And I would like to share some tips for you because it can be a very overwhelming process otherwise. So let's check it out. Okay, so first and foremost, I have 6 different tips that you should keep in mind when you are looking at finding a new spiritual home. First and most importantly is don't try to rush the process. You will find the place that feels right for you, that matches with your beliefs, that you can build that relationship with your preferred entity. For me, it was Hashem or God. But don't rush the process. Trying to speed things along is only going to stress you out and going to create undue pressure. And this is an important decision. When you are trying to find your spiritual home where you can grow in your faith and beliefs and develop that connection, that's something that needs to happen over time. That's something you can't rush if you want it to be organic and long lasting. So my number 1 tip is don't rush it. Everything you do should be very purposeful, but don't rush it. Do yourself that number 1 favor. Give yourself grace to know that this is going to take time and know that that's okay. Okay? The number 2 thing that you need to do when you are trying to find your spiritual home is you need to do a lot, and I mean a lot, of self-reflection, self-inventory, really to figure out yourself. What do you need? What do you believe? Specifically, what do you believe regarding a creating force? What do you believe regarding organized religions? What do you believe about the purpose or lack of purpose of evil in the world? What do you believe is going to happen when you die? What do you believe you're supposed to do with people who have different beliefs than you? What are your beliefs on homosexual identities and practices? What are your beliefs on abortion? What are your beliefs on gender roles? What are your beliefs on the social hierarchy within religions? What is your belief regarding social justice and being an advocate in our world? Really take a lot of time and get to the heart of what you believe. Because to try to find where your spiritual home is without having that root is futile. You need to know what you believe first. And you can't just rely on, well, my husband believes this, so I'm going to believe this. Or my parents believe this, so this is what I'm going to believe. You need to do a lot of reflection, whether that's meditating, whether that's journaling, whatever that looks like for you, you need to start with you. And that step is probably the one that took the longest for me, because there are still things that I'm changing my views on, and that's normal through life. As you move through the different stages in your life, your beliefs and your views alter slightly. And that's okay. But you need to, when you're finding a spiritual home, you need to get to the root of who you are and what you believe. Because the place that you find as your spiritual home should mirror and support that. It may not support all of the different things that you are, but it should mirror and support most of them. If they mirror and support most of them, you're going to find more acceptance. You're going to feel more welcomed. You're going to feel more encouraged to participate in your spiritual setting. But first and foremost, you need to know you. And that's not something anyone can rush you through. There are certainly books and blogs and articles and YouTube videos. There's lots of different things to help gain perspective, but none of it will take place, or take the place, I should say, of your personal reflection. You need to know you. It's the part that took the longest for me to figure out. Because while I had ideas, I personally struggled with the idea of, okay, well, but if I believe something then different than somebody else, that makes me a bad person. And that's not the case. I just believe and understand and interpret things differently. And I can still appreciate you for your views. It just doesn't match my views. And that's, again, something that takes a lot of confidence to be able to stand up for, this is what you believe. If you don't have that confidence to stand up for, this is what I believe, then you're going to falter multiple times on your process of finding a spiritual home. Because if you're worried about what everybody else is thinking, you're going to constantly try to stifle yourself so you are not pushing against the grain and being your true self. So, first and most importantly, don't rush the process. Second is you need to take time for you. Make sure that you really understand what you believe. Once you know what you believe, then comes the next part of looking at your needs, looking at your desires, looking at your beliefs, and then figuring out, okay, so these are the things that are most important for me when I'm looking for a spiritual home. I'm looking for a place to continually grow. I'm looking for a place where I can use my time and talents. I'm looking for a place where I feel welcomed. I'm looking for a place where I can advocate for my passion areas. I'm looking for a place that has something to support my children, or whatever it may be. Based on what you believe, what are the areas that in particular you're looking for support in? Now, your spiritual home might not have all of the things that you need. You might need to look outside of your spiritual home. You might need to look into websites and YouTube videos and podcasts and books and other things like that. Maybe what you need is needed in your new spiritual home, but you need to bring it out. You need to start it. But again, you need to understand who you are, what you believe. Then in that list of beliefs, figure out what is needed? What is desired? What do you need? Do you need music in order to feel connected? Do you need to have a hierarchy in your system? Do you need to feel important and a person of note in your community? What do you need to grow? You shouldn't ever just want to exist in a space. You don't necessarily need to be the leader, but you need to be looking forward to places to grow, ways to strengthen yourself and your understanding. That's why you're looking for a spiritual home. You want to be filled and fill others. You want to continue to strengthen your beliefs. So look for what you need. Understand what you need. And then when you understand what you need, then you can be more specific about, okay, what's the next step? And that next step is probably the most uncomfortable for many. And that's you're going to need to get out of your comfort zone and go and visit places. You can do a quick Google search and understand a little bit about different religions and where you think you might want to go based on what your needs are, what your beliefs are, where would match. I would caution against doing too much investigation first. You're going to need to go and visit a lot of places. Visit more than one Islamic mosque. Visit more than one Baptist church. Because to make a decision on one experience in one worship space is also short-sighted. I've been blessed to have attended multiple worship spaces. And I can tell you that my experience at different Catholic churches, for example, is greatly different. There are experiences that I had at different Jewish synagogues that were different. There are experiences you have just because of the people, the size, the location, the diversity of the population, the talents that are available there. You're going to have different experiences. And when you're searching for a spiritual home, while you are understanding what you believe and what you need, you also need to open yourself up to these are all the many things around. And we live in a great day and age where there is a lot of access to different religions and worship services on YouTube, on Facebook. You can attend Kingdom Hall services sometimes on secured YouTube channels. You can. You can attend Baptist services on YouTube channels, on Facebook channels. You can attend Jewish synagogue services on Facebook and YouTube and all these other networks. There's all kinds of services out there. It does not necessarily matter if they're in your neighborhood. Certainly attending in person gives you a better feel for what's going on, but open yourself up to different experiences in your world. Open yourself up. You know what you need. Then you have your experiences. And when you're having your experiences, you're looking for places where you feel, and this is the tricky part because your feelings and your heart can move you in different directions very easily, and they can quite honestly lead you astray sometimes. So, but there is something to be said about knowing who you are, knowing what you need, and having this wave of this is home that you can't quite put into words. There's this feeling of this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what makes sense to me. And that's tricky. Don't put all your eggs into that basket. Still go on other visits, but be aware of it. Watch the people interacting. Look at the aesthetics that are in your worship space. Does this facility meet what you are needing? Does this organization meet your needs? Does your experience thus far align with what you believe? How does this compare? If you don't go out and try different worship experiences, you won't know. You won't know. Perhaps you align more with Universalism. Perhaps you align more with the Mormon Church. You don't know if you haven't experienced it. Book knowledge is one thing. Social knowledge, street knowledge, actually going and experiencing is a different thing. Got me? Okay, after you do your visits, then you want to go and dig deeper. If you went through, I don't know, there is no set number of visits that I would suggest, but I would certainly suggest going to more than one worship space for any particular religion. If you feel called to Islam, if that was the spot where this aligned with all my beliefs, this aligned with everything that I'm needing, there was that feeling of this is home to me, this is where it makes sense to me, this is where I feel I can grow, then you want to do your research. Dig in. Find out the foundations of that religion. Dig deeper. What do they believe? Why did this religion form? What is the hierarchy system? What are their sacred texts? Dig deeper and understand. Again, before you make a decision, you need to understand what you're getting into. You're looking for a spiritual home, a place where you can grow. You can't grow if you don't know where they started. If you join someplace just because, oh, the people were lovely and that I found a really great friend that works there or worships there or whatever, or oh, they were dressed so beautifully and the music moved me, but you don't know the foundation, you might be building your house on a sandhill. You need to protect your spiritual home. This is the place where you want to grow. And you need to find the right venue, the right group of people to support you in that. When life gets tough, it's your spiritual home community that's going to support you, that's going to be there to encourage you. You need that. So do your research and find out. Find out their foundations. What do they believe? Who are they? Where did this congregation start from? When did it start? Find more about that history. You can do research. You are a smart individual. I am confident of that. After you've done your research and you feel validated that, yes, this is still the place that this is where I am drawn to, this is where I'm guided to, this is my home, these people align with what I believe, what I need, then take the next step. Ask to meet with a spiritual leader from that community. Speak to some of the members when you go to visits again. Talk to them about your journey thus far. Talk to them about where you were, what you're struggling with, what you're looking for. Help them understand you and listen to them. Listen, help yourself by listening to their story. Listen to, why do they go here? Why do they feel connected in this way? Why do they practice their spiritual souls? Why is this their spiritual home? Listen to them. Share your story. By sharing your story, you own it. By sharing your story, you validate who you are in your process, and no one can doubt that. After you have that meeting, remind yourself that you don't need to rush into anything. You don't. Take your time. Give yourself some grace and keep learning about you. Keep discovering different worship spaces. If you feel called to the Jewish synagogue, then keep going to the Jewish synagogue. That's absolutely fine. But don't close off everything else. Just because one thing is true and feels right for you doesn't mean that it matches everything. No place is perfect. I was in the Christian church for 40 years. I was. And I was happy and I was involved and I had questions and I got frustrated. And I know that the Christian church is not perfect. It has many great parts, many. It's not perfect. The Jewish synagogue is not perfect. The Islamic mosque is not perfect. Buddhist temples are not perfect. The world is not perfect. But you need to find a spiritual home that meets you where your needs are, where your beliefs are. And that may change through time. And change can be scary. So be gracious with yourself. Know yourself. And then take that first terrifying step of exploring what else is out there. It can be exhilarating and it can be terrifying. But you will find your spiritual home. I have confidence in that. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.